There is no single unifying definition of a rare disease. Rare diseases are defined from a regulatory and policy perspective as any condition or disease affecting fewer than 200,000 individuals in the United States, or alternatively determined to be of low prevalence, which is defined by as fewer than 5 individuals per 10,000 in the European Union. 7,000 distinct rare diseases exist today, and globally, estimated 400 million people are affected by a rare disease. 50% of people affected by a rare disease are children. It takes approximately 6 to 8 years to get an accurate diagnosis, and 95% of rare diseases do not have any single FDA-approved drug treatment. 80% of rare diseases have identified genetic origins, among those the so-called motile ciliopathies. The best known is Primary Ciliary Dyskinesia, PCD.
Rare disease registries are very important to understand the clinical phenotype, the clinical course, prognosis for rare diseases. Why? If there is only one individual of a rare disease, you are unable to predict what happens, how to treat if you are a clinician. You need information about all those points that are very easily to know for common diseases. So that's the reason why rare disease registries have been implemented to learn more about patients. We installed an International Registry for Primary Ciliary Dyskinesia. This registry not only contains one just single disease entity, but a group of disorders. Why a group of disorders? Because many different gene defects can cause a variety of so-called motile ciliopathies. Some of the mutations, for example, cause defects of motile cilia of our airway systems, and they cause chronic upper and lower airway disease. Other mutations can affect, in addition, nodal cilia function and result in left-right asymmetry defects. Interestingly, we have also shown that motile cilia are present in other organs. For example, they cover the fallopian tubes in the female reproductive system. And we have to find out if genetic defects also affect those structures, can cause female infertility or subfertility. Rare disease registries can also help to find even rare conditions in rare diseases. So we found out by looking carefully at the different genotypes of patients that some patients can, for example, suffer in addition due from hydrocephalus. Why? Why can patients suffer from hydrocephalus? Because motile cilia line the brain ventricles in our human brain. And we could show that some individuals indeed suffer from conditions caused to dysfunction by ependymal cilia. In addition, we have shown that motile cilia are also present in the male reproductive system. So in a structure which is referred to as epididymis, in those little ducts also motile cilia are present. And we also need to know whether defects of those structures can cause different phenotypes related to male infertility. And importantly, sperm flagella are really giant motile cilia. Abnormalities of those sperm flagella can also cause male infertility. To find out what kind of genetic defects cause what kind of disease and what kind of disease severity, it is very important to collect the clinical data and the genetic information of the individual patients suffering from primary ciliary dyskinesia. Rare disease Registry can also help to identify patients for clinical trials. It is important to do and to perform clinical trials to improve clinical care of patients with rare diseases. In order to find those patients, we need international collaborations, because otherwise we will never have enough patients for those clinical studies that are really essential to improve clinical care of rare disease patients. Rare disease registries also help to identify now specific patients where we might offer personalized medicine. What do we mean? Specific genotypes can now be repaired, for instance, in cystic fibrosis. Here we have pharmacogene therapeutic options. In addition, nowadays, clinical companies work on treatments where they try to replace RNA in specific mutant individuals. So it is important to identify those patients with rare genotypes that might profit from personalized medicine. The International Registry for Primary Ciliary Dyskinesia started in 2014. At that time, we were very fortunate to receive funding by the European Community for a project that was referred to as Best Cilia. Only a few European countries actually started this project, and initially we had a few hundred patients, just a little bit more of 200 patients. Over time, we actually started to extend this registry. And with the end of the funding, we established within the European Community a new network referred to as European Reference Network for Rare Lung Diseases. Within this network, we also established a specific core, Primary Ciliary Dyskinesia core. This registry nowadays contains data of more than 2,000 PCD individuals. And it actually contains information from more than 30 centers in 24 countries. Some of those countries are even located outside of Europe, such as South America or even Northern Africa or Asia. This international prospective PCD registry is hosted at the University Hospital in Münster. It helps to understand and to adapt new clinical care for patients. However, all those data are actually introduced in the registry by medical doctors. We very recently implemented, together with ERN Lung, a novel registry. This registry is a patient-based registry where each individual PCD patient in the world can contact us and can ask to be also included in the registry. And we think that this is really important because it is a way of empowering patients.
Ich hatte das Glück vor 12 Jahren, dass ich nach Universitätsklinikum Münster kam, zu Professor Dr. Helmut Omran, der Spezialist für Ciliopathien. Er kümmert sich sehr um meine gesundheitliche Situation, denn sonst wäre ich nun bestimmt recht schlimmer gewesen als jetzt in diesem Stand, wie ich bin. Ich trage meine medizinischen Daten zur Internationalen PCD-Register bei, weil ich den Wissenschaftlern helfen möchte, meine Krankheit besser zu verstehen und möglicherweise eine bessere gezielte Therapie zu finden, die in Zukunft sogar eine Heilung ermöglichen könnte.
LYSOCIL is a very broad project and included capacitating the NMS, Nova Medical School, in doing research, excellent research, and diagnostics on lysosomal diseases and ciliary diseases, for example, lysosomal storage diseases and motile ciliopathies. These registries are extremely important, especially for diseases that do not have treatment. It is hard for some clinicians and even patients to understand the importance of such registries. However, they will be important for future treatments or for future studies that we investigators want to perform, or clinicians. So it's very important that the patients themselves can register and that I can help them do that. So the ERN Lung PCD core is very supportive. So the fact that the management team of this registry is based in Münster, University of Münster, and led by Professor Helmut Omran, this was very important because LYSOCIL allowed me to be in this team for 2 weeks. And so the communication between myself, LYSOCIL, and the registry is very close, and this will enable us to have a good collaboration. This will enable us to perform a national registry that will be compatible with the International Registry, and this will allow us to exchange data between the two registries and to later on be able to use this data on clinical trials.